Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video I'll be featuring Eaglemoss's Back to the Future Delorean. I am on issue 31. Welcome back. Here's the magazine for issue 31, where you can build the iconic 80s time machine in 1/8 scale. So after we look through the magazine here, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the chassis and we'll show you the full functionality of the suspension. One of my viewers asked me a question about the suspension, wondering if it still works, and we'll go ahead and show you that right before we start this build. So I will go ahead and open this up. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this before it gets sold out. As I'm filming this episode, the Nissan GTR R35 is sold out. So they're just taking pre-orders for that right now. But this is still available. So if you think you want to get this, go for it. I've enjoyed it immensely. All the parts come in very nicely wrapped box with shipping. You know, everything's taken care of, protected and all that, so I've been very impressed with that as far as how the shipping goes for Eaglemoss here in the US. And I haven't had any issues assembling. I haven't had any screws break or anything like that, so it's really been fun to do this. With the subscription you receive 4 issues a month, so that gives you, plenty of time to build it after work, after school, on the weekend, all those types of things, and it makes it fun. So here we go. We'll break down the table of contents, which is drive time is our assembly instructions for this, starting the script and the time traveler's guide. So here's a listing of the parts that are included with this issue, which we will be assembling the plates for the chassis. So we'll be doing that here in a little bit. And this basically just 2 steps involved for that. A lot of screws have to go in with this issue. And then the gamble with time. So this is where Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale work out the structure for the next Back to the Future sequel. So there's about 4 pages on that article. It looks like it's a very good read, actually. So I enjoyed this magazine, reading all the articles. And then the last page here is a little time traveler's guide about Doc's warning letter to Marty. And I won't get into it, but it's a very interesting article with that. So then they give us a preview of what issue 32 is going to give us, which is the battery box and fuel tank. So with that, I'll go ahead and get the chassis out, show you the suspension, and we will assemble this issue. We'll look at the parts first, of course. I'll be right back. Alright, here's the chassis, and I went ahead and put a different background in so that way it's easier to see the black parts. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see the black painted parts with the blue background. So in this case, let's go ahead and look at the front suspension. So you can see the suspension does have movement, but this, like I said, the spring that's in it is very stiff, so it's a very stiff suspension, but it does move. Let's look at the back. I'll move it, and you can see plenty of movement, but the spring is very stiff. So it is fully functional and just a little stiff. So nothing is rock solid with the suspension. It does have freedom of movement. The front does turn freely. Very nice. The only thing that I did notice is the magnets are very weak on the front. Now I think in issue 12, these magnets right here in my hand, there's 2 of them here, were included, but there was no instructions about them. I'm wondering, those of you who have already built this, are these replacement magnets for these weak magnets up front? Alright, so let's get on with the build. I'll be right back. Here's the parts that came with stage 31. So I'll go ahead and pull them out of the bag and we will get a closer look. Here's a closer look at the parts. We get a couple of plates that we're going to install in the chassis. These are both plastic. And we receive some BM screws. Alright, so here's the panels. And they are marked. This one right here has an R on it. And of course the other one has an L on it. So recommend you test fit these first. Put them in place. Do a real quick test fit to make sure they are indeed on the right spot, which they are, and they should kind of be going in that direction on top of the chassis there. I have the chassis turned over upside down. We are going to be putting in, looks like 7 screws for each one into metal. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate those holes with my Vaseline lip balm. Now you can use Vaseline, regular Vaseline if you want. You could use automotive grease if you wanted. I'm using this. Number one, it's handy, and number two, it has no smell. And then through time, it will actually dry out and cause no harm to your model. I don't want to use anything that's real oily, as it would have a tendency to prevent you from doing any weathering or any touch-up painting or anything like that with your parts because of the oil that's all over the place on it. But it definitely helps me put these screws into the metal, because the screws have to cut in to the metal itself. And with my arthritic shoulders, it helps me out too. So, also, I don't run the risk of breaking the screws off or the heads of the screws. Lots of holes to oil up, grease up, whatever you want to call it. I ordered some regular Vaseline to do this, and because of what's going on in the world, it's taken a while for even Vaseline to show up. Kind of strange, huh? But at least we can buy toilet paper now. Okay, so I'm going to put both sides down at the same time here. Get them to line up. Start with this side. They're going in very smoothly. So just be patient with them to get the screws started. You want to go in as straight as possible. lot of screws going into this piece. Okay, now do the other side where you can see it. Put the other side in. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I really get a kick out of the Delorean. And if you haven't watched any of my other episodes, like I was saying, I had an uncle that worked at the DMC factory in Belfast, Northern Ireland. There's some really cool replicas, or some, not really replicas, they are DeLoreans out there that people have converted into time machines. And it's definitely a labor of love, those folks. So I'm actively building the Nissan GTR R35, and I'm a little behind on posting videos. Everything pretty much filmed with that. So you may see me put out multiple videos in one day just to get caught up. And I'm also building the Aston Martin DB5. So far I haven't had any delays in receiving parts, and I do hope that they offer those cars to my European friends. And there we go. All the screws are in. So with that, that is all we do for issue 31, and I'll be back a little bit later with issue 32. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I can use all the thumbs up as much as possible. And if you don't subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. And the other thing, please, before this sells out in the US, subscribe to it. I can tell you, you'll be very happy with it. So with that, happy modeling everybody. Take care.